We're headed down toward the town of Atlanta, middle fork of the Boise River. Since we did our metal detecting videos, there's been some questions about where do you use them and how do you use them to the maximum advantage. And we'll try to show you some areas that you might want to concentrate with your metal detector. Whatever you have, even an Ace 250 set up on all metal mode with a small coil will detect gold. So in this video, we'll hunt some tailings piles that the old timers left in the 1800s and try to analyze where you'd want to concentrate your metal detecting activity. In the middle fork of the Boise River, and in the 1800s, the old timers, first by hand and then by steam shovel, made tremendous tailing piles all along the river here on the placer grounds, and it's still carrying big nuggets today. And these tailing piles, if you will, where they first started is now on the bottom of the pile, and the bottom of the river is on the top of the pile. That's why you see these great big rocks are on top. That's the bottom of the river. That's the richest gold. And so that's where you want to concentrate your metal detecting activity. We're going to go over this with several metal detectors, and I'll show you how to set them up to find gold. First, we're going to go with the Fisher Goldbug 2. Now at over 70 megahertz in the VLF, it is the absolute most sensitive metal detector to gold, and it's the one most people use for their bread and butter if they're doing this for small nuggets. Because it'll get them. Now, over here you have volume, ground reject, which you have to bounce your metal detector up and down to set, and sensitivity. Alright, so I want to turn it on. As luck would have it, it's pretty well ground balanced. I want to get the sensitivity all the way up, as sensitive as I can. Now you hear it, the note going slightly positive. Right there, it's ground balanced. You have a coarse adjustment and a fine adjustment. Now I like to adjust it where it's slightly positive. And when you're metal detecting, you want to be wearing headphones for absolute sensitivity to your hearing. On the back we have a control to turn down the threshold volume so it doesn't drive us crazy. Now why would we detect tailing piles that have already been run? Well, most of the old timers had their sluice boxes set up to run 1/8" mesh and less. So in the trommel screens, anything big went right out and into the tailings pot. So there's gold here. Alright, we found a hit. It's rolled down off the top. It's down here someplace. And I've been going around, let me turn that down for a minute, metal detecting. When I got a hit, you have a couple of choices. You can either dig up everything you find. Now that's the classic way of doing things, because you miss nothing that way. Or you can use discrimination of the machine and trust that. Now, we don't have a lot of time today, so I'm just trying to dig non-iron targets. And we've got a hit right here. I'll turn it up so you can hear it. Hear that? On this switch on the far left, you have an audio boost. I audio boosted it. Now I'm going to click it up to earn discrimination. if it's anything but iron, it should make the machine go off. Let me turn the volume up. So we've got a legitimate hit. It may be gold. It may be anything other than iron or a hot rock, which is an iron rock. So we're going to dig that up, put it in the bucket, and run it through our sluice box later or a gold wheel and see what it is. And now I'm going to show you how to set up an infinium. But first we're going to turn the power on and we're going to turn it to fast. You heard 4 beeps. That told you that the battery is up, fully charged. Down fast, I'm going to raise and lower the coil, let it ground adjust. I've got my discrimination at 0. I've got my threshold up to where you can hear it. Now we're going to go to slow. Slow ground. Slower mineralization. Bounce it up and down, let it ground adjust. Now I'm going to go back into lock. Alright, now on the infinium, if you've got a target that's iron, you'll get a low-high tone. If you've got gold, you'll get a high-low tone. Listen to this. And you should scan the infinium. It's not like a VLF machine. It's pulse. It's pulsing waves. Now even with this big coil, we've got a hit. Now I'm going to put the earphones on the camera so you can hear it. Now just like with the Fisher, we're going to dig that area up and put it in the bucket and see what comes of it. If you're one of those folks who wants one detector for everything, this is an excellent choice. It's a White's MXT. You have 3 modes: coin and jewelry, relics, or prospecting. Now, I've got it set to prospecting, but you should be aware there's a certain way you can set it up in the relic mode, switch it up to relic, and you can set the machine up in such a way with your gain up high to where it'll give a real sharp positive signal on gold or non-ferrous and a negative signal on ferrous materials. But let's just use it for prospecting and try it that way. You want to set it up, you want your gain, turn it on, and your gain as high as possible. Now I'm going to turn the threshold up so you can hear it. Normally I'd have my headphones on again. And we'll go our saturation or our discrimination, another word for it. I've got that set to 0. We want it as sensitive as we can. I've already got on the coil the little small shooter coil for Nugget, so it's set up in the right way. That's the signal you're going to get on the screen. It'll give you a readout. And it's going to give you whether it's iron or not in a percentage. The lower the percentage, the higher the chance is it is of gold. So anything 50 or less, I usually dig it. 30%. So we're going to dig this target. Matt-Mattson screening out the finds. What I did was go back and detect with the gold bug, because that's the most likely thing we could find gold with. And we detected a bunch of big spikes and this one nugget, which makes Mrs. Mattson very happy.